for the supervisors meeting to order. Please rise for the purple.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Township Board of Supervisors allocates a period of time during this item for those individuals who would like the opportunity to address the Board of Supervisors on any matter. Each person addressing the Board of Supervisors is asked to limit their comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. First,
Both of us on there that were talking, so I'll let him handle it. He doesn't have anything. Yeah, it's your plan, bro. I can keep on riding, no problem.
Good evening. My name is Jim Jones. I'm a resident of 124 Morgan Drive, which is in the Bradford Run subdivision. I was back here in the December meeting as well, and I'm here again to express support for your motion advising the township solicitor to review the status and do what's necessary. We have the manager take office this January, as well as the board member, so it's good to keep this front and center. The one question I am kind of confused about is, I thought in December, our resolution was to already authorize the manager and the solicitor, and then I did see that that's now a January thing as well, so.
Probably a type of, it's probably, it's, I spoke to Mr. Murphy just a little bit ago. I'm gonna go over that with him again on Monday, because I've been busy this past month because of openings. It's on my radar starting next month.
Okay,
Okay?
yeah, because I appreciate everyone kind of reaffirming your support to make sure, you know, we get something resolved for us. I'm happy to talk about the issues again if anyone's interested.
I think you sent me a letter also.
I did send you.
I do have.
I sent it to the board as well. I'm not sure if it made its way to the.
I'll make sure they give it to
Just so you're aware, me and you went on the field trip there, and we have the sidewalk issues.
There's a number of issues.
Sidewalks and some grading.
Sidewalk, curb.
I'm just making sure that he's not slipping.
It will, because I think I took pictures also.
You did. You got out of trouble.
We got the stormwater issue with DEP as well.
Plus you have that one portion, that one phase that wasn't complete. It's
Phase
a
that
bunch of
wasn't-
garbage.
The phase that wasn't complete, as well as with the way they subdivided and phased their development, they never subdivided the open. Yes, their plan was to just turn that over to us all at once. But we now have features that we are supposed to be maintaining, but we don't own the land that they're on. And that land is off the sheriff's sale on,
Maybe might be the true thing is, unlike a lot of attorneys, I'm at the office on Saturdays and Sundays. So if you want to come in like Saturday morning,
just sit down and go. over it,
just
yeah.
go, you're located.
Yeah. And I'm more than happy to, you know, walk through it with you, so I appreciate the walk through it with you.
So like this coming Saturday, 9 o'clock,
Saturday at 9 at your office? Okay, we can do that.
just go inside.
Yep, side door. Okay. And, yeah, that's the same thing for TJ too. If he ever, the engineer ever comes to the community, I'm happy to, you know, meet anybody, walk through it with you.
That's it. Well, I'll, you're done. The other one I have was the solar panel, ordinance,
And there's 3 items to
and
it.
there was 3 items.
One regarding the grass, and I'll put that week.
Dennis is gonna either tell you what I want to change, or he was okay with it, so. Just want to-
When I get to it, I'll mention it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Trees and grass.
Something with you, sir. We learned something last November, December, that we weren't aware of. Really, we thought we had a sizable sum of money to make your community whole, and we did. That was for that other abortions that they own, that's being shared. So we're trying to get this fast track so we can get in front of the sheriff before the place is sold, so,
Right,
and then that's, yes, yeah, that's,
because like I told you last month too, I mean, the part, so you guys took over John Street, you are on, one of the meeting minutes from a number of years ago, adopting John Street, and that parcel is also on that sheriff's sale list as well. So there is also this. That's all around.
So if you have some time to come in by Saturday, we can discuss all that.
Sure.
when is yours?
It's not currently scheduled, so it was advertised back around maybe July or August, but then we got a continuance. And, the rumor that we have heard is that it's going to be getting posted again sometime the first quarter of 2026.
No, we're trying to see to it that this doesn't cost the taxpayers any more than it already has. And to make sure that what we have in place, what would be normally substituted as a bond, is still good, and it's something that the bankruptcy proceedings can't work it out. Can I ask you a question? What was that project? When was it first time built approximately?
2016 was the first sale, I believe. It was one of the townhomes. That would have been phase one, 2016. And then phases 2 and 3 were probably sometime in maybe 2017, 2018. And then phase 3 would have been finished around the end of December 2020.
Well, and thank you, and bringing Mark up to speed, and Mark's worked his butt off to see to it that we can get this, and then, you know, the more and more, unfortunately, the file for that place it was finally located. But, no, we're on that, because I'll be damned if that's gonna cost the taxpayers dollars to pay the time.
Well, that's what I told Mark. It is unfortunate because, you know, I had conversations with Brandon Stanek at the time, whenever he was council manager, you know, going over some of these things, like, hey, it's been months since they've done anything, you know, they're coming out of here, what are we doing? And, you know, it was always blamed on something, you know, they had their own excuses as well, with COVID and, you know, prices and whatever else, but just nothing ever came to be any progress. Thank you.
Next up, Kevin Booth.
Kevin Booth, Resident 121 Zephyr Station Road. That's more of a question on the draft data center ordinance. It spells out it's a conditional use in the I-1 district. You propose happens in the I-2.
Is that the old ordinance?
This is what's on the website.
It's probably the old one. Don't pay attention, that was the initial draft, so it doesn't even apply to this.
I understand that. But that's the draft that I'm looking at, so is your intention it will be permitted in I-1 only?
I think there's two I districts. There's one where the Arden landfill is, and I think that's the one you're talking about, right?
I-1's there, and you got some I-1 across from the spring house.
That's way on the other side of the township.
Correct.
Correct, but I think it's gonna be an I-2 district.
Okay.
So that, I wouldn't even put much faith in that.
So I, not to interrupt you, I submitted some comments, you may have received them, and I spelled out the I-2, but my concern was, do I need to revise my comments
Yes,
based on this being listed as only I-1?
I suggest based at this point in time, until we go through the process, I will not put much faith in that ordinance at this time, because it's been modified. It's in the process of being modified.
That was my second question. So what's on the website is not accurate.
According to what, I don't look at the website, according to Kristen, it is.
Okay,
I'll take your word for it.
okay.
I would pull that off.
Is there going to be any modifications to this put on the website? So,
Well, we have to go through a process. We have, that's a meeting. I know it's on the agenda tonight. We can't do anything. We cannot adopt or advertise because it has to be sent to the Washington County Planning Commission. It also has to go to the local planning commission, pursuant to NBC. So according to what we have in today's thing, we're gonna have to table that item because it has to go through a certain process as required by the NBC. Right?
okay. And one comment, maybe not for the supervisors as well. I'm not sure if everybody's aware that Senator Boscola has a 6-bill package she's proposing. For your purposes, I would think you would be in favor of it. It gives municipalities a little more strength and leverage pertaining to data centers.
I've seen it.
So it might be worthwhile to let the local reps here know that it's in the works, maybe support it, let Tim O'Neill know that if it does pass, they can be aware that it's heading their way.
Next up, Dorothy Walser.
Good evening. Thank you so much for this opportunity to address you. And I've timed it, it's 3 minutes. I'm Dorothy Ballstone, I'm a realtor with Howard County. Homes are my lifeblood. My home was one of the first homes built in Windsor Highlands, and many of my neighbors will be severely impacted by the encroachment and dangers presented by data centers. As a realtor for over 35 years, I know firsthand the importance of home ownership. Our residents are entitled to a peaceful enjoyment of their property, which represents the largest investment many will have in their lifetime. Data centers' impact must be controlled and minimized regarding sound, odor, fires, explosions, traffic during construction and operation, and visibility. No person or industry should have the right to re-engineer the fabric of a stable, beautiful community. On the map page 65 of the map, the township intended long-term development is clearly delineated on this map. It is clear residents who served on the committee and the board of supervisors who ratified and adopted the plan intended for growth to be primarily of a residential nature that maintained agriculture and open land and protected natural resources. They carefully provided for commercial and industrial growth in areas that projected residential and scenic areas. South Strabane is a suburban, private, charming, and offers us a great lifestyle. In the last year, 365 days, 103 homes have sold in South Strabane, from 725,000 to 74,900. Active on the market right now, there are 27 properties. They range from 2.2 million, which is Dr. Jason's theater, down to 109.9. 4 of these are new construction. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Next I have Laura Trevor.
Yes, I'm actually here for the new business portion of the agenda, so we can simply.
Daniel.
Evening, everybody. Beagle Club Road, South Strabane resident, I also represent CNX. Just wanted to mention a couple things, clarify for the record that there isn't actually a data center project related to Zedekar at this time. It's only one potential use for their property. CNX's broader interest is really to find the highest and best use for that property. Also, just to clarify, we're an oil and gas company. We are not a data center company. There's been a lot of misinformation, and CNX wants to clear up some of the past coordination there. We're working on a public letter that'll clarify some of that history and CNX's role with Zedekar Station land. Thank you guys for the time, and thank everybody here tonight.
Thank you.
Next up, Ed Majors.
Gentlemen, Jennifer Mazer, 40 Fisher Road. You know who I am, and you know who the man is that shaped me. I have to admit that he would applaud your efforts to bring the township budget to a state of living within our means. However, I firmly believe that he would not agree at all with the way this has occurred. He'd be jammed so far in all of your ears, they'd be ringing for days. He certainly would not condone the firing of an employee that goes above and beyond for this township in multiple departments at any time, 24/7, 365.
to include event scheduling, kids camp, running the warming center, emergency operations center in cases of overwhelm at the county dispatch, personnel system input to include ordering of uniforms and equipments, communications between the chief and staff, and handling of volunteer onboarding processes. The Community Risk Reduction Program, which is a fire prevention program with Chief Kramer and Captain Brown, to name a few. The IT for the road department, tracking of leaf and limb tonnages for the road department, and grant applications. An employee that continues to add education and training to her schedule so she may better serve her community. An employee that works one-on-one with the citizens of this township on many levels, and an employee that has risen to each occasion presented to her and done what it takes to accomplish each goal set before her. It speaks to her dedication, honor, and self-sacrifice. Before I sit back down, I want to thank the board for working behind the wheel of trucks 17 to 20 hours a day on Saturday and Sunday, 12 hours a day on Monday to make sure the residents were safe. Oh wait, that was our road department. I want to thank the board, though, for showing up at 4 a.m. to my place of business when I needed you, because a strange van was parked directly in front of my doors and I was worried of being robbed or maybe physically harmed. Oh wait, that was our police department. But I especially want to thank the board for leaving your Thanksgiving tables to handle a multi-vehicle accident on 79 South Flyover in the freezing rain and ice where one person tragically lost their life. That was our fire department. These men and women are all in these jobs by choice because they have a drive to serve, because they live here and they love this township. Do as you must with your choices, but please know that, as my father said many times, you will reap what you sow. And I pray you're prepared for the fallout that that may bring. Peace be with you.
Michael Shimko.
Hi, I'm Mike Shimko. I'm a resident, homeowner, and father of two young children in 124 East Point Drive in South Strabane. I sent an email with my concerns regarding the data center ordinance. Not sure if it was received, so I wanted to come and read this for free to hear to make sure. So, yeah, I recently learned about it. I staunchly oppose such plans. Data centers generate value for stakeholders and may generate spillover benefits to host communities when operated reasonably and responsibly, but we regularly observe the contrary in practice. XAI lied about emissions from backup generators powering their data center in Memphis and caused substantial undue burden and harm to residents in nearby communities, with regulators taking more than a year to enact meaningful reform. Grok, an AI chatbot, which is contributing to the massive surge in data center demand, enabled users to generate sexually explicit images of women and children. And this was allowed for several weeks until international outrage and investigations prompted stricter controls. And finally, I wanted to reference an Observer article that I read. Nick Sherman claims that the energy requirements of data centers are a complete non-issue due to natural gas infrastructure in our area, while the owners of the proposed land of such a data center, CNX Resources, I know that it's not planned yet, but that was floated around in the in documentation. And I presume that they would be a supplier, maybe not, maybe they would, but as this gentleman mentioned, CNX Resources is an oil and gas company, but data centers need a ton of oil and gas. So, you know, do the math. And they have a criminal history of air pollution violations in our area. And I have a link to a nolo contendere plea agreement in the Pennsylvania Attorney General website. So just to follow up, to what end can we reasonably consider data centers to be beneficial to their host communities when their operators act so recklessly with impunity? Is it just, moral, or wise to stake the well-being of South Strabane residents, the future of our community and our children, for additional tax revenue and a few hundred temporary construction jobs? And I provided a list of 13 pretty basic protections that were missing from this draft ordinance. Happy to read them right now. I hope you read them and incorporate them in the new version. I've, like this gentleman.
If you want to send your email to the.
I would like that. Yeah.
Why don't you do that? Be better off.
Sure. I did. I sent it to Peter Stefanski.
I had your email.
Okay.
I just pulled it.
Okay. Thank you.
Can you forward that to all the supervisors, myself?
Yes.
Thank you.
Completely
Yep,
understand.
that's what I was looking for. I would like everyone to consider those items and include them in the draft. So thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. That's all that I have signed up. I do have letters from Contact Us. If the board wishes me to read those now, or if we want to go to the YouTube comments.
No, let's read them now. Yeah.
Okay. First one, message, South Strabane Township Supervisors. I've been a homeowner and resident of this township for almost 40 years. I'm writing strongly opposed budget cuts that would adversely affect our police department, fire department, emergency services, and public safety staff position. The 2026 budget was passed in November 2025 by a 4-1 vote. Suddenly, at the reorganization meeting on January 5th, 2026, there was a 3-2 vote to reopen this approved budget. Every resident in this township should be questioning the reasoning as to why this happened. Several board members keep stating that these proposed cuts are needed to get the township back on track. As a taxpayer, I understand that cuts are necessary, but what I don't understand is why only select cuts have been proposed. I'm 100% against any staff losing their job. If you need to make cuts, then why not start with the unnecessary $9,700 donation that was proposed to the Citizens Library? This line item was not touched or even reduced in any way. The public safety of every resident should always be your main concern. I say this because I attended several meetings this month and witnessed the supervisor state he wants to sell a ladder truck because we simply don't need 2 of them. Having lived through tragic fires for 4 years ago, and the loss of a beloved resident, I strongly disagree. If the use of either of these ladder trucks saves a human life, then they are worth every penny that they cost. You simply cannot put a value on someone's life. I'm asking each and every one of you to think long and hard before you decide to vote on making all of these proposed budget cuts. Someone's life may depend on it, maybe even one of your own. Patricia Gold, 106 Fan Station Road. Next one, this one is, I'll go since they're at the back end. Colleen Dill. I'm running as a very concerned longtime resident as well as a family property owner and taxpayer of South Strabane Township. Being highly concerned of the tax cuts and disbanding of what I feel crucial areas of safety, security, as well as overall well-being of this community. Public safety always should be and remain high priority. These individuals have taken and adhered to the oath to protect and serve, which I will add they have. And I pray the oath would be with all of our supervisors as well. In the past 5 years, I've personally experienced the need and use of not only our police department, but more our fire department. With 3 major medical circumstances, and lastly, my 3-year-old autistic grandson who became missing this past summer, which thanks to a quick response of Chief Jordan and his crew of dedicated men and women, he was found safe and sound. These experiences, as I know, many more residents have had similar needs, were handled quickly, caring, and most professionally, making us feel that we were being cared for and protected in anxious times like these. In making my family and myself feel honored to be living in this community that supports and cares for that safety, security, and well-being mentioned prior. Maybe you have never had to utilize or witness these needs. If not, I pray you never have to, but it is definitely not something you want to go through, especially when it was my spouse of 50 years who needed emergency care during one of these times. Your oath, as well as theirs, is to maintain protection and well-being services to those who are paying your salaries, of which I have to question. If things are so dire, where are these cuts? I am not one for anyone losing their job. Reduction in pay, but in financial cuts need to be made. They need to be made clear across the board. As far as the budget projecting the giving of our Citizens Library in the amount of $9,700 a year, seriously, I know for a fact, having children and grandchildren in these days, utilize the web way more than a local library. I travel past the library almost daily looking at sparsely filled parking lot, which is mostly used as a public lot, not just for the library. You can't justify services for public safety protection and well-being, but justify this. That truly concerns me. If feeling the need to support, and by maybe this is being more personal to someone here, I could agree to a lesser amount, but this is totally over the top. Again, asking for consideration to rethink what you are elected by residents of this community to maintain the above. I too respect the difficulty and painstaking work of balancing a good and profitable budget. Been involved for over 21 years doing the same with not only my job, but with my church. Please, and I'm asking with respect, to look over and rethink your proposal and cuts to vital areas for this community and residents of South Strabane Township, especially us seniors that depend on these services. I pray you take the time to respectfully and on behalf of our residents reconsider your actions. Thank you. Charlene Iskey. Supervisors Jeff Gould, George Rowan, and Zach Morgan. I'd like to know why you would reopen a budget that was already passed to save money instead of lives. Totally ridiculous. This is affecting our community, getting new police cars. This is a large area to cover all of South Strabane Township. Do you know how many people this affects? Look around you. We need the position that Kelsey Schreiner currently holds to assist our wonderful, kind, caring Chief Kramer to run our fire department. Chief Kramer is a gem. You want to take away one of our ladder trucks that will save many lives and get residents out of burning buildings. You three men are putting many lives at risk. These are absolutely ridiculous. You were worried about saving money, not lives. You better rethink it. You three are putting many lives at risk, and you should be ashamed. What if one of our siblings or parents lived in the tall building where was not a ladder truck tall enough to reach them? Shame on you for taking away parks and recreation. This was enjoyed by all who attended. The word will get out, and who is to blame? You will have thousands of people to answer to. Charlene, nice to you. Alex Van Kirk, 58 Lee Street. I am running as a concerned resident of South Strabane Township to voice my strong opposition to the proposed cuts to our police, fire, and emergency services budget. While I understand the difficulty of balancing township finances, reducing funding for these essential services would directly endanger the safety and security and the well-being of our community. Our first responders are not just employees, they are neighbors, protectors, and the people we rely on in our most vulnerable moments. Any reduction of their resources risk slower emergency response times, increased danger during crises, and greater strain on those who already work tirelessly to keep us safe. Public safety is a core responsibility of local government and should remain our top priority. I urge you to explore alternative solutions such as reducing non-essential expenditures, seeking state or federal grants, or engaging residents in collaborative budget planning before making cuts that could have irreversible consequences. I respectfully ask that you reconsider these proposed reductions and commit to preserving the safety and security of South Strabane for all residents. I also believe that you as supervisors should not be obstructing the work from other elected officials in the same office. The people have voted you, and the tax collector provided her with an appropriate capability to provide the community with jobs we elect her to do. These changes are necessary and should be handled in a timely manner. You are disrupting the office and disappointing our community expectations. Also, taking away money from the Parks and Recreation Committee was uncalled for. This was a well-ran volunteer committee and did excellent activities for youth in our area. My kids are personally affected by this, and we spend countless hours at the parks and in the community and participate in events regularly. Thank you for your time, your service, and your dedication to our community. Faith DeBellis, 9 Mum Drive. I am running as a concerned resident of South Strabane Township to voice my strong opposition to the proposed cuts to our police, fire, and emergency service budgets. While I understand the difficulty of balancing finances, reducing funding for these services would directly endanger safety and security and well-being of our community. Public safety is the core of our local government and should remain a top priority. I urge you to explore an alternative solution such as reducing non-essential expenditures. Also seeking federal grants and engaging residents in collaborative budget planning before making cuts that have irreversible consequences. I respectfully ask that you reconsider. I thank you for your time, service, and dedication. Jody Dero, 92 Nasser Avenue. I'm running as a concerned resident of South Strabane Township regarding the proposed budget reduction to our police, fire, and emergency services. I believe these cuts pose a serious risk to the safety and well-being and quality of life for everyone in our community. Our police officers, firefighters, and emergency responders are not just public servants. They are first line of defense in times of crisis. Reducing their resources could mean slower response times, increased risk to life and property, and greater strain on already hardworking personnel. Public safety is not an area we can afford to compromise. I urge you to explore alternative cost-saving measures or revenue sources for implementing cuts that could endanger residents. This might include seeking grants and adjusting non-essential spending or engaging in community collaborations. I respectfully request that you reconsider these proposed reductions and prioritize the safety of our township. Our community's trust and security depend on it. Sincerely, Jody. And the last one I have is Connie Passo, 1036 Vermont Street. I am writing as a deeply concerned resident of South Strabane Township regarding the proposed reduction in funding for our police, fire, and emergency services. Again, it's basically the same thing. Police officers, firefighters, and emergency responders are vital to protecting lives and property and the overall ability of our community. Reducing their budget risks slower emergency response times, increased vulnerability to crime and disasters, and greater strain on dedicated individuals who serve us every day. Public safety is not a luxury, it is a fundamental responsibility of local government. I urge you to explore alternative solutions, such as reallocating non-essential expenditures and pursuing state or federal grants, or engaging other residents in constructive budget discussions and making the cuts to jeopardize, instead of making cuts that jeopardize our safety. She has also put in a request, she lives on a private drive, and says, thank you and the road crew for keeping our roads clear and safe. And the only way I have access to my driveway is behind my house in the alley that is named McAdam Avenue. No one has this address as a physical address. We either live on Maple Avenue or Vermont Street. My neighbor drove back and forth to pack the snow down with his truck, but it is still very deep, and I got stuck this morning getting out to go to work. Is there any way the plow truck can go through there so we can get out? I greatly appreciate it. Please advise, and thank you. It is 1036 Vermont Street. I believe it's on a private road. Yeah. That's from here. Yep.
Is there anybody online?
Hello,
State your name.
Linda Rumbaugh, Burrell Drive. I did send a letter and I've asked twice already for it to be read. And I did talk to Mr. Savansky today and he assured me my letter would be read. And this is the second time it was not read that I had sent him, although I did talk to him today. He assured me that he would read it. So I guess I'll just say it for myself. I do want to thank all the public safety departments that were out during this terrible weekend we had. They did a great job. And what I had written, which was not read for the past two meetings, we used to be a rural area. We did not need all these police cars, the extra staff, fire trucks, etc. But now that we've become such a retail community, now we're required to have all this extra staffing, extra police cars. And I just want to make sure that we are getting that the township is getting the full amount of mercantile tax that's allowed by PA law. If someone could please answer me as to whether or not we are getting the most amount of tax money from all these retail businesses that are here. We're providing security to them and we require more and it costs more because of them. And that was all I needed to say about that. But I also wanted to talk about the solar ordinance, which I did talk to our solicitor today about that. On page 27, it was supposed to be changed to 1,000 feet from any property line, not just next to a residential housing. And I just wanted to know if that was going to be changed like we discussed at the last meeting. Thank you.
Yes. Mrs. Rumbaugh?
Yes.
I apologize. I had you the second part of the meeting for the general comments, but since you're here, I'll go ahead and not read that. And I do understand that they did read your letter at the last meeting.
No, they didn't. I listened in and they did not read it.
So I apologize for that tonight. That was my mistake.
Thank you.
Yep.
You have our letter?
Yeah, it's in the packet. But I did receive
it was shared with the board.
Yep.
But I'd like it to be shared with the public also. That's why I asked it to be read during public comment. I think it's important for all the residents to hear.
No, I apologize for that.
Peter, do you have a copy of that?
I do. I just,
How about reading?
it's in my packet. I apologize. Like I said, I was flipping some letters around. I think I misplaced it up here. So I will get it and read it. So I do apologize for that. That's on me. I apologize. Mr. Rumbo.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's everybody online?
No. Heidi McConnell, 122 Nazar Avenue. Would like to know why my letter wasn't written either.
There's Linda Rumballs.
You have that, Pete?
I do have Linda's. Yep, and they were in the other packet. So is there another one in here? Or is it like these last two?
There should be another one from a Phyllis Rhodes that was not read yet.
Phyllis.
Phyllis Rhodes.
You have a letter. Rumball's letter there.
Did you find, you guys have it?
Yeah, I found some more letters. Hold on. They were in the other part of the packet. To whom it may concern, this was the resignation of Chelsea Gold. Please accept my immediate resignation from South Shore Parks and Recreation Committee. I'm extremely thankful for the opportunity to serve on the committee and wish the group much success in future events. Task and goals. Thank you, Chelsea Gold.
Do you have Ms. Rumbaugh's letter?
I do.
Let's take one thing at a time.
With all business and growth in the township, an increase as mentioned in taxes next year for residents is unconscionable. We would not need more fire trucks, police cars, and staff had the township remained a rural community. Are the retail and all businesses in the township paying the maximum amount for mercantile? If possible, I would like to answer these questions publicly. I believe all businesses should pay for the increase in security that the township provides to them. Again, are we getting the most amount of money as allowed by law? Please read the PA law regarding mercantile tax and business privilege tax. Under Pennsylvania Local Tax Enabling Act, the maximum mercantile license tax gross receipt generally allowed for townships on wholesale vendors is $1 per 1,000 of gross volume, and 1 1/2 mil is 1.5 per 1,000 for retail vendors and restaurants. These rates are based on gross annual receipts, though the rates have often varied by specific municipality. Key details regarding PA mercantile tax limits: wholesale limits 1 mil or 0.001. Retail restaurant limit 1.5 mils or 0.0015. Context: these taxes are often authorized for businesses operating with specific municipalities or school districts. While the above are standard, some specific cities such as Pittsburgh are authorized higher limits: 1 mil wholesale and 2 mils retail. Many townships also utilize a broader business privilege tax, which can have different, often higher effective rates, sometimes ranging between 0.12 and 1.75 mils, depending on the authority under which they were enacted. Thank you, Linda Rumbaugh.
Who's the other person? This is the
I
last
have-
one. Heidi what? Is there a letter for Heidi McConnell there? I mean,
I have Diana Ambrose, Jim and Wendy Tiana. Do you have that copy of that letter?
Heidi McConnell,
Heidi, no, she's on Zoom. She asked if her letter was read, but
we don't have do you have a letter for Heidi McConnell?
I just know I have those are the letters I have left on here. So is Diana Ambrose, Jim and Wendy Tiano, I thought I saw Chelsea going with that red.
Ms. McCall, they can't find your letter. Do you want to give us a short statement?
Not at this time.
Not at this time, so that's it then. Okay, Mr. Rowan, is that the last letter?
No, I have Diana Ambrose. Dear South Strabane Township, on behalf of the Board of Trustees and staff, we want to express our sincere appreciation for your 2025 appropriation of $9,700. Your support of the library and learning in our community is vital to sustaining our library as not only a place to read, but as a true comprehensive learning center. You are supporting library excellence for residents of your community and making a difference with your gift. Again, thank you for considering the library. And then Jim and Wendy Tiano, Crestview Drive. Dear South Strabane Township Supervisors, we appreciate that you consider keeping South Strabane Township as a safe and growing community by making gains that include our fire safety, as well as providing amenities that enhance family life in our township. Township families need the assurance that updated fire and police protection will continue to be supported as crime becomes more sophisticated. Our police forces need to continue to rise to that level. It is common sense that better protection comes with a price tag. However, the price of falling short of the protection may be even higher. Our current tax base should be more than adequate to support these expenditures. Amenities are also important to have available after safety and security, but are vital to provide a first-class township like ours. Our parks are very nice and well used in our community. We need to continue to offer clean and well-maintained parks and varied activities that keep neighbors and families happy and healthy. Attracting new residents can be a side benefit as we have offerings that residents may safely use. Please consider maintaining a budget that will support and improve safety, fire safety, police, and features like parks and recreation. These are vital parts of a thriving community. Thank you, Jim and Wendy Tiana.
Peter, is there any correspondence from Phyllis Rhodes that you have?
I'm not seeing it in my packet.
I'd like to make one comment, and I made it before, I'd like to make it again. Anybody that wants to speak on the data ordinance, there has to be a public hearing. It's most important that you come to the public hearing and make your comments part of the permanent record. So down the road, however it may go, you're on record with your comments. That's what's important. They need to become a permanent part of the record.
Thanks, Mr. Volpe. Okay, we're going to move on to meeting minutes. I want to insert here that there was an executive session on January 22nd for personnel issues here at the Township Building. And then we need a motion to approve the Board of Supervisors regular meeting on December 16th and the Board of Supervisors reorganization meeting on January 5th.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on, financial business, approval of the payrolls for periods of December 7th, 2025 through December 20th, 2025, and December 21st, 2025. January 3rd, 2026. And the bills for period December 13th, 2025 through January 23rd, 2025.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. Have you guys go to the Secretary Treasurer report? Under fire minor equipment, line 411.26. So our budget was $9,382. And just in December, we spent $17,089. So I wanted to ask Jordan what he needed to get that month, like, so we buy something in bulk at a time, or I can't get a clarification on that tonight, but, then also on medical supplies, it's 411.24. The budget was $9,066, and then in December, we spent 7,581. So for the past 11 months, we only spent $1,485 for 11 months, but then spent the 7,581 the last month. So I wanted to get clarification on that as well. And 411.24. And then our capital large fire apparatus, for some reason, it shows $0 for January through December on all the reports, which we all know that that's not right, but that's more question for Marie of why that's like that. So I make a motion to table those items until we get clarification of why and what we got.
So you're making a motion to table those line items.
Yes, so 411.70, 411.24, and 411.26.
So the motion is to table those 4 line items as stated until further clarification and receipt of supporting documentation.
I'll modify my original motion to reflect that.
All those,
Is there a second?
need a second?
Zach
I'll
seconded, so we have to modify that.
You're
All
a-
those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0.
Now we have to pay the bills, correct?
Mhm.
All right, so is there a motion to table the remaining invoices as provided by the finance director?
So the remainder of the report.
Correct.
My motion was to pay the bills, and I modified it to exclude those three,
Those 3 line items.
3 or 4 line items.
You made a motion to table that.
Yeah.
I modified the original motion
Okay.
to approve it, and then I modified it to exclude those 3 line items.
Okay.
And it was second.
Yes.
All in favor?
First, aye.
Okay, so we're good with
Yep.
tabling these and the financials.
Yep.
Number 6, announcements and recognition. There are none listed. Do you have anything, Mr. Stefanski?
No, I just would like to thank the road crew, all of the fire department and police department for everything they did through the storms over the weekend. They did a fantastic job keeping the roads as safe as possible for the residents in South Strabane. So I wanted to thank them.
I agree. The road crew and the fire department, and in meeting with Jordan, we were able to get the paperwork going to see if there's any monies available for emergency declaration. Jordan came to the township and then came up to my house. I signed the paper to get everything put in place. And I guess 5 or 6 other communities filed the same emergency. So I appreciate all those that helped us get through this storm, and it looks like another one's brewing. So yeah, good work to all the crews. I appreciate it. Township reports and presentations. Municipal separate storm sewer MS4 report. The Board of Supervisors allocates a period of time during this item for comments regarding the topic of stormwater. Each person addressing the Board of Supervisors is asked to limit their comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. Anybody for stormwater?
Kristen, anybody on the computer or Zoom?
Okay.
No.
We'll move on. Township manager report.
The only items I have are the ones that are on the agenda for approval.
Okay. Secretary treasurer report.
That would be Pete, I guess.
Peter, nothing for the secretary treasurer report.
Yeah, hold on, we just took everything apart.
Letters and his system.
Yeah.
Okay, take your time.
So I apologize. I tore my packet apart to look for those letters.
Nothing.
Minutes. Agenda. Yep, have the minutes agenda for the planning commission meeting on January 8th, 2026. Read down there. The line items, I'm sorry. Yep. Zoning hearing board meeting agenda, January 12th, 2026. Zoning hearing board meeting minutes, October 13th, 2025. Parks and Recreation Commission meeting agenda, January 20th, 2026. Parks and Recreation Committee meetings, Commission meeting minutes, November 19th, 2025. Parks and Recreation Committee meeting minutes, December 17th, 2025. I apologize. This is my first time doing this, so.
Okay. That's everything?
Yep.
Township solicitor.
Thank you, Mr. Rowan. My office has been helping the township with looking at some prior developments like Bradford Run, also looking at Burkett Manor and some other developments. We've also been involved with some of the plans being submitted to the planning commission and so forth. We've also been involved in some dynamic issues regarding data centers or data centers, however you say it, and BESS ordinance, and also with the solar ordinance. Thank you. So it's been pretty busy, but we're getting along, and hopefully we keep moving forward. Thank you, Mr. Owen.
Thank you. Township engineer. TJ.
Thank you, Mr. Rowan. Just wanted to start by saying Happy New Year, everybody. Couple things to pass along. Our office's engineers report should be in your meeting packets. I reported on this last month, but the sidewalk construction at Burkett Manor is not happening right now for obvious reasons. That will be done more than likely through the winter time, picking up again in the spring. So when there's updates on the Burkett Manor roads and sidewalks and storm sewers, I'll pass those along, but nothing new to report there. Our office did participate in the briefings that were held with the Washington County Local Share Account Grant Program. That was earlier this month. We did present the Berry Road and Manifold Road projects, intersection improvements project there to the county. They didn't have a whole lot of feedback, so we'll wait and see whether they choose to award our project for funding. That'll probably be announced in the next couple of months, I would think, for the county's program. I did want to just briefly touch on the Driscoll Park storm sewer project. We talked about this before the end of last year, and it was my understanding that the township staff was going to reach out to the previous engineer to see what project materials were available for that storm sewer project, whether they had done any survey work or done any design work to this point. Our office saw some preliminary maps, but nothing resembling a design at this point. So I know the township's under a crunch to spend the grant money that we have for Driscoll Park. So I'd like to ask that if there's anything additional that the board would be looking for from our office, you would maybe give us some direction so that we know how to proceed with that. And then last thing I wanted to touch on quickly, I think, was Meadows Landing. I did participate last week in a meeting with the Meadows Landing design engineer regarding the driveway slopes. As we know, we've had problems with driveway slopes at other housing plans dating back a few years now. So the meeting was productive. We sat down, we talked about what the ordinance requires, and there was what seemed like a good understanding on their end for what we'd be looking for in the field so that we hopefully head off these problems. We don't have the same issues when we're building sidewalks and driveways on future plans. So I thought that was productive, wanted to pass that along. Obviously, our time and expenses with that meeting will be taken out of the developer's escrow account, so that's not a taxpayer expense. And then I had a couple quick questions just to bring up while we're all gathered here today. In the developer's agreement for Burkett Manor, it talks about an annual inspection for stormwater ponds and storm sewer infrastructure, as well as an annual review of the performance bond that's in place. And the township has the opportunity to increase that bond amount in accordance with the MPC guidelines for changing surety. So I wasn't sure if that's been done before. I wanted to bring it to the board's attention just because, you know, this is an opportunity to look at the storm sewer infrastructure, the ponds that are up there before we take them over, and to check our bond amount, make sure we feel we have enough surety in there to complete the infrastructure.
Where do you get that, TJ? We take them over.
What's that?
We don't take it.
We don't take them over. They'll be the homeowners or something.
Homeowners.
Okay, that's my mistake then.
But they need to be checked.
Yeah, the ponds should be checked on an annual basis, and you're right. Yeah, this is Burkett.
Are any of the ponds ready to come out of construction mode?
I don't believe at this time. I believe they're all still in their construction phase for erosion and sediment control.
So I guess we could look at them after they come.
They're engineer with you.
Right.
You can check them.
Yeah.
After they come out of construction and they're ready to be taken over by the HOA.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I misspoke earlier, Mr. Weber. Sorry about that.
But please go ahead and review that performance bond.
I think that's important.
And take in mind all the additional money that place has cost the taxpayers and time and resources.
But to keep in mind, we have a policy and we also have agreements whereby the developer pays money, puts money to escrow, and that reimburses the township any expenses incurred by the engineer. So whatever is done by Banksy will be reimbursed by the developer at no cost to the township. Correct?
Totally agree, but you know, the manager gets involved, supervisors get involved, your road department gets involved, everybody gets involved, and they get pulled away from doing what they're supposed to be doing every day. And all of a sudden it just doesn't get done. And South Strabane Township needs to get out of get into proactive mode and get out of the reactive mode. We've spent, I'm going to say it, millions of dollars being reactive on several projects over the last 20 years. You know, this has got to stop. It has to stop.
So my next step then will be to get together with Manager Stefanski and schedule time to look at their performance bond, and when the weather breaks, we can look at their storm sewers and their ponds as well. And then I just have one more question for the board. During the meeting with Meadows Landing, we talked briefly about the Landings Drive, the road behind the gas station there and the doctor's office. Those roads I believe there was base course and potentially binder course asphalt put in there, but the wearing surface was not put in yet. And it's not yet been constructed to township specifications. During our preliminary review for land development, we pointed out that those roads are ultimately going to become township roads, and accordingly, they should be built to township specifications. And we recommended that there may be some boring, some samples taken of that asphalt to make sure that the depths are appropriate and so forth. So the engineer, when we met last week, the engineer asked if the township wanted our office to be present while those borings were taking place so we could verify measurements and so forth. So I wanted to bring that up with the board this evening.
I think it's a good idea.
I do too.
To me, it is also, but I wanted to ask the group.
Yeah, most definitely. There was another road that was very, very short, and we had to change the plans before we could mill it. And unfortunately, we took it over, and to this day, I still say we shouldn't have took it over.
Has the property changed hands to the new buyer yet?
I do not know.
Okay.
And I do not believe that's a township road yet.
No.
No.
Landings Drive.
Yeah.
I think it's intended to be, and that's why it's going to be important to measure those pavement thicknesses and make sure that it's consistent with our spec. So,
Hey, TJ, tell me again, but the KLH with that Driscoll Park
Yeah.
project, they gave you nothing, no design, nothing?
we saw a preliminary overview drawing, Mr. Weber, but we don't have anything detailed with elevations and slopes and so forth. So
Give a call. If we charge it with that, they should have something done by now.
yeah, so where we left that previously, I think Chief Chief Kramer was going to reach out to them. I'm not sure if he has yet or not, but
There's a meeting this Thursday about MS4. I sent it to all the supervisors. So everybody, and I suggested everybody go there and we all get on the same page about what we've done or haven't done over the past several years on MS4, see what the new requirements are, so we are all aware of it, so we can move ahead financially smart and know what's going on.
That's this Thursday, right?
You have to reach out to KLH.
yeah, I think it would be better received if the township reached out to your previous engineer rather than our office. I think we would prefer that. Yep.
How
That's
many
all.
projects do they have on their agenda? Do they have, is that the only one?
I think Driscoll was going to be handled by our office going forward. As for their other assignments, I'm not 100% sure, Mr. Chairman.
I thought Driscoll, I thought that was to stay with them because they'd already done all the work on it. That was my thoughts from, I have to go back and look at the reorganization meeting minutes.
And that, yeah, that way.
I think I got those.
That's all I have unless there's any questions from the board. All right, thank you all very much.
I don't. Thank you.
Number 8, unfinished business. There is nothing. Under new business, letter A, public hearing for the consideration of a conditional use application from Valvoline Instant Oil change for proposed automobile service station oil change facility located on parcel number 600-00-13-00-0016-02 in the C2 General Commercial Zoning District. Mr. Stavansky, could you give us
Valvoline. Township is in receipt of conditional use application from Valvoline Instant Oil Change for a proposed automobile service station, oil change facility located at the parcel you just mentioned. The site is currently vacant and shares a driveway with Tidal Wave Auto Spa Car Wash for East 388 Washington Road. Valvoline is proposing to build a new 3-bay, 1,875 square foot oil change facility. The Planning Commission and Township Engineer and Township staff have conducted the required zoning analysis and find the proposed conditional use would be in compliance with the zoning code, specifically Article 15, conditional uses used by special exception, 245-11 automobile service station. At the December 4th, 2026 meeting of the Planning Commission, they unanimously voted to recommend the board approve the conditional use application from Valvoline. For the proposed automobile service station oil change facility located at parcel 600-0051300001602 in the C2 General Commercial Zoning District. All reports and documents were attached.
Mr. Owen, if I may,
Yes.
well, I'll handle the public hearing with your permission.
Yes.
At this point in time, do we have anybody here on behalf of Valvoline? All right, can you come up here, please, and state your name? Yes.
Good evening.
Please raise your right hand.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony about the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Good evening.
Your name and address?
My name is Laura Trentler, and I'm with McBride Dale Clarion. That's 5721 Dragon Way, Suite 300, Cincinnati, Ohio. And I'm here tonight on behalf of Valvoline with their proposed oil change facility on the south side of Washington Road. I think that the description that was given was pretty thorough. It is a 3-bay facility, about 1,800 square feet. The proposed development will share the existing driveway with the Tidal Wave Auto Spa. No additional access points are proposed on Washington Road. And I'm here if you all have any questions for me. I'm happy to answer them.
Before we ask any questions, Mr. Rowan, I request that someone make a motion to place into evidence Exhibit A, which would be the application of related materials. Paragraph B would be the Banks and Review letter dated November 21st, 2025. Exhibit C would be the legal notice and proof of publication. Exhibit D would be the letter to neighboring property owners. E would be the photo of the property posting. Is there a motion to that effect?
So move.
Second,
I'll second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Opposed?
so those have been placed to evidence. So you've made your presentation. Does the board have any questions of this person?
No, I do not.
Anybody? Discussion? Nothing?
TJ,
Is it going to be on the same parcel as the tidal wave? Is it going to have the same owner as the tidal wave?
That's a good question. Let me see here. It looks like it's a separate parcel, but it is a leased site, so it could be the same owner. I'm not sure at this time.
I was curious because of the shared driveway and they have the same parcel number, so.
Then, yeah, I'd say that's a safe bet, but we can look into it if needed.
TJ, do you have it? You reviewed the project?
We did, yeah. Our office reviewed the conditional use application. We prepared a review letter that stated November 21st, 2025, as the solicitor stated. The project is not a spot zoning in this case. And we feel that the conditional use is consistent with your comprehensive plan, and it is consistent with the zoning ordinance and the surrounding uses. Those would be our comments at this time.
Did we move forward with the specific condition of the preliminary final application on the subdivision? You made a comment that you recommend going further. Did we do that?
Well, I believe at this time they're only applying for the conditional use. To move ahead with the use of the site, certainly they would need to follow through with the land development.
I thought it would be included with it.
Process. It's not necessarily done concurrently. It can be done concurrently, but I don't believe that it is in this case. So
okay.
Any use of the site should be conditioned on gaining the necessary subdivision and land development approval prior to use. So yeah, I would agree with your comment.
So do you recommend approval?
Generally, we don't make a specific recommendation on conditional uses. It's more of a zoning and a legal type of decision for the board of supervisors. But in this case, I don't see any reason why the conditional use could not be.
Any specific conditions the board should place on the condition use?
None above and beyond those which are presented in our letter.
All right. At this point in time, does the board have any further questions of Mr. Stevens?
Any questions? No.
At this point in time, don't leave yet.
Okay.
At this point in time, does the public have any questions or comments concerning this application for conditional use on behalf of available? Seeing none? Anybody on Zoom? All right. At this point in time, is there a motion to close the public hearing and testimony in this matter?
Make that motion.
Second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Grego. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0.
So is there a motion at this point? I'm sorry, Mr. Rowan, but may I want to ask for a motion to, if somebody wants to make a motion to approve the conditional use in compliance with the letter submitted by the township engineer?
So motion to approve this conditional use application.
Subject to the conditions of the township engineer.
So move.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Bowl. Thank you, Mr. Grego. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Letter B, motion to approve preliminary land development application from Dewberry Engineers on behalf of Walmart for a building expansion on the existing structure of 30 Trinity Point Drive, parcel number 600-00-13-00-005-00 in the C2 General Commercial Zoning District.
So TJ, do you want to make a presentation about this or what? Are they on? Okay. I didn't see anybody. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, we're participating via Zoom due to the weather that we received also in Virginia this weekend, so it made travel a little difficult. We would have much rather been there in person. So I appreciate you all giving us this opportunity. But I'm Emily Ragsdale. I'm with Dewberry Engineering, and we are representing Walmart. They are proposing a 6,700 square foot expansion that will be used primarily for their online pickup and delivery services, storage and staging for that service specifically. And then the relocation of their designated parking for their online pickup and delivery customers. They're also proposing to increase the designated parking area to 45 designated spaces and install the necessary signage to designate that area. And I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have for us.
For discussion, any board members have any questions?
Looks like they're eliminating a lot of parking spaces. Is that gonna be a problem?
Thank you.
I can defer to their design engineer on that question specifically, but Emily, are you proposing to eliminate parking spaces as part of the building addition? I thought there was other impervious area that would be transferred into this new building addition.
So the overall parking will be slightly reduced. I apologize. Let me get to my parking analysis table.
We have the drawings in front of us. Could you refer to a drawing and then point out what you're in reference to, please?
Yes. So if you look at the cover sheet, you will see a site analysis table that shows the existing both square footage, parking requirement, and then what is being proposed. We are well over the requirement for South Strabane Township. Even with the addition, we will be required to have 863 spaces, and we are providing 1,027 spaces on site. So we are still well over what's required for the township.
That answers my question. Thank you.
Just to build off what Emily mentioned there a second ago, on our original comment letter, we did note that their parking calculation, they used the City of Washington's standards, was an oversight, but they've since revised that and they are meeting South Strabane Township's parking standards. So that's been corrected.
Okay.
Thank you.
They're also requesting waivers, aren't they?
Yeah, they are requesting waivers over the landscaping requirements under the subdivision and land development ordinance, just due to the nature that they're constructing a building addition on the front of the building, which is not going to impact the side yard buffering or rear yard buffering. And I can also defer to their engineer for additional commentary on the waivers that they're requesting.
And what about the bond for the waiver? If the township grants the waiver, what about the bond? Maintenance bond?
Well, there's a
if you look at the letter of January 8th from Ms. Ragsdale.
Right, and I think that's in reference to the maintenance bond for specific.
Correct.
So to your point, yeah,
It's two waivers.
would also go.
Am I correct, Ms. Ragsdale?
That's correct. We requested a waiver to the landscaping requirements in the Saldo since we're not impacting any existing landscaping, and the addition will be on the front of the building, so we will not be impacting, the side or rear yards, triggering additional buffering or screening. And additionally, we did request if the waiver for the landscaping is approved, that you also waive the landscape maintenance bond requirement as well.
Correct. And this application was recommended for approval by the planning commission with those waivers.
Any further questions from the board at this time? So if someone wants to make a motion to approve the preliminary land development plan from Dewberry Engineers with the requested waivers as to landscaping and as to the maintenance bond.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Greco. Second? Thank you, Mr. Moore.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Letter C, motion to approve preliminary and final subdivision application approval for Gemini Legacy Estates subdivision located on parcel number 600-00-00-00-0013-02 and 600-00-00-0013-03 in the A1 agricultural zoning district.
Anyone here from Gemini?
My name is David Hosley with Harshman CE Group. I have a comment letter prior to planning commission from Bankson. We have not sent updated plans. They're really minor comments. The week after that, I was out. One of my engineers tried to reach out to the sewer council, did not get a return phone call. I reached out again today. Their message actually says they're out of the office due to the holiday still. So it went straight to voicemail. I will get a hold of RC at the sewer council. In the past, we're not creating a lot. So typically in the past with plans like these, we do them all over Washington County. There's typically a note that says basically we're not creating another buildable lot. But I don't want to submit the plan back to your engineer and then have to submit it to them again. So what we're kind of requesting right now with how minor the comments are is a conditional approval. And we have to get the sewer council's approval and letter or some kind of information to the municipality anyways for their approval. And the other comments are really minor. We have all the rest of the comments done. I just didn't want to send it yet due to the fact that I don't know exactly what the sewer council is going to require. But if we can't get the sewer council's approval, then we can't do the plan anyway. So the conditional approval would be null and void if the sewer council, we can't get them to approve it. So I don't think it's going to be a problem. They're rather large parcels. And I would think even if they require us to do a perk test, I forget how many acres off the top of my head. It's a rather large parcel. I don't see a perk test being a problem there either. So.
Is there a time situation here, TJ?
The application was submitted on December 18th.
Was it? So we have to what, 90 days. So what is that? January. We have time yet.
And I have no problem if we want to extend that, another 30 days and give us a little bit more time, make sure the sewer council can get done what they need to do.
You would be willing to extend your request?
Yeah, for 30
That
days.
90-day window?
So that would be fine. So if you want to make a motion to table this request.
You can do that too.
Subject to written receipt from the applicant's engineer requesting another 30-day extension.
Motion to table? Thank you, Mr. Weber. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Grado. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Thank you. Motion to approve South Strabane Township Solar Energy Systems Ordinance of 2025.
So it's been advertised. It's also gone before the planning commission, the county planning commission, and also the township planning commission. There's a couple of things. Just want to have to excuse me. My throat for some reason is going on me. Mr. Murphy had a couple of comments about, and we did talk about it before. And this is on page 22, subparagraph C. This talks about reseeding with grass, and he recommends that the reseeding be done with Kentucky bluegrass, 20%, turf, tall turf fescue at 40%, and 40% rye. And also, if we do that, recommendation that we have the ability to change that mixture of grass seed with a resolution. So that's one thing. I have no problem with that. The second thing he had concern was on page 25. If developer, this is regarding, we have a situation where if someone has a solar farm, basically we have about decommissioning because we don't get stuck with, like I grew up in Vesterburg, we had the coal mines, slate dumps all around us. So we want basically to have decommissioning, but if the developer defaults in terms of decommissioning, we want, we'll have the ability to go after and lien the homeowner's property. And the law says basically before I can lien anyone's property, I have to send the appropriate notice to that person. So I'll add a little clause saying the township will provide the appropriate notice under the law before we lien the property. You're required to do it anyway. Anytime we lien property, we're supposed to do it, but I'll put that in there. Okay. Also, that this is on page 26, woodland areas. We said basically that the trees will be placed, there'll be a 2-to-1, but he made a good point. That basically the out of sentence saying that the replacement tree shall be determined by resolution as to caliper and as to species. We don't want to have someone have little 18-inch trees and so forth. So I'll put language saying, we'll do it by resolution, but that way we're not held to the same type of trees because, things do happen to trees, they die and so forth. And we did talk before about 1,000 linear feet, I believe, from the property line and so forth. So I'll make those additions. So if you want to make a motion to adopt a solar farm with those 4 additions, you can do that now.
I've got one other thing I'd like to bring
Sure.
up. Had a township resident reach out to me who had looked into doing some solar panels or had been approached, better yet. And I guess the life of a solar panel is 20 years. But we have on our page 24 under section 5, the escrow deposit schedule, we're only getting an 80% decommissioning cost at year 20. And I'm going to suggest that at the very minimum, we get 100% at year 15 and be done with it. I mean, again, why should the taxpayers be stuck with the cost if something goes wrong? It's not right. And most of these solar farms, I've heard it both ways. Do they buy the property or do they put a long-term lease on the property?
I've been involved with the leases. It'll be a long-term lease.
Yeah.
And basically they reviewed one the other day, but they're long-term leases. They don't buy the property. They have different agreements with different tax advisors and people, and different financial people. So it's a long-term lease. They don't buy the property at all.
No, and that's my concern. Someone has an LLC, the government changes what they're giving, they come up with they find Tesla's way to make power and we don't need this anymore. And all of a sudden these are junk. And they're just obsolete overnight. And we don't need to be in a position to do that if we can.
Okay, so that you want to do 100% decommissioning?
I think by year 15, I understand tapering it up, but I think year 15 comes a little closer to hedging your bets.
All right, so you want those 4 changes then? So is there most to adopt the ordinance with those 4 changes?
Motion? Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Say
Aye.
aye. Opposed?
No.
Motion carried 4-1. Letter E, motion to advertise the proposed 2026 amended budget for South Strabane Township and to post it on the township website in order to allow the public inspection / review for a period of 10 days. Second,
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No.
Motion carried 3-0 or 3-2. 3-2. Letter F, motion to set a special meeting for the adoption of the revised 2026 budget on Wednesday, February 11th at 6:30.
So moved.
Thank you, Jeff. Second?
A second.
Thank you, Zach. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carried 3-2.
So what we have to do, once this budget's been this advertised, it's going to have to be posted on the township website. I would do that tomorrow. And I'd also make it available in the front door, or front, whatever vestibule, whatever you call that. It's also gonna be placed at the Observer Reporter and so forth, so make it available for all the public.
Okay. Motion to authorize the township solicitor to review Bradford Run development and advise township of appropriate action.
We've already done that once, but you know, it's back in December, so so if you want to make the motion again, but it's already been authorized.
Okay. Motion,
I'll make the motion.
second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried 5-0.
I might, if I may, I might add, in view of everything that's going on, we have a little more urgency here. And that needs to move to the front of the burner.
It will be.
Thank you.
Motion to take action to authorize the township engineer to meet with the Public Works Director and provide a quotation to study the condition of roads, bridges, culverts, and berms in the region of Mitchell, Roop, and Rankin Roads. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make that motion. I'd like to add Zediker there. The township in the past made the decision to make a lot of those areas out there commercial. And at some point in time in the future, somebody's going to develop that. And I think we need to get a handle on what condition the roads are in. So for conceivable, if the bonding down the road, bridges, I think the county owns a bridge, storm sewers and stuff. So we know exactly where we stand. When that day comes, we're approached for that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bull. So we'll add Zediker Station to that.
Yeah.
Our portion, we only own half of Zediker.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second,
Second.
I have a discussion.
for discussion?
Yeah, all the bridges on these roads, they're county bridges, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah, they're all county bridges.
Okay. And that's
So normal bonding for heavy equipment would cover all this. In the past, when we worked with the gas wells, they would actually film the road and bond it.
Yeah.
And at the end of their construction, then they went over with the engineer and roadmaster, and that took care of everything. Would this be an extra cost that we really don't need?
Well, I think talking about what we want to get out of this is important. First of all, if the bridges are owned by the county, probably there's not a whole lot that the township would be involved with in terms of bonding or maintaining or anything to that nature. That would be a county responsibility.
Correct.
So yeah, I guess.
So when construction comes in, normal bonding, that's what they do. They're gonna, the right of way, the road surface, the berms and everything's gonna be checked.
Yeah, so in my experience for other industries or whatever the large hauling would be, there'd be an agreement between the township and whoever the hauler is anticipated to be. And as part of that, there was, like you're saying, Mr. Taylor, there'd be an inspection, a pre-use inspection. Typically, when our office does those, we walk every inch of the road, we videotape it.
Yep.
We look at any cracks that are there, any sinkholes, we look at the shoulders. We look at the inlet boxes if there are any out there. I know this is a rural area, so it may not be in the storm sewers out there, whether there's cross drains or inlets or so forth, to document the condition of all those assets that the township owns, part of a pre-use inspection so that they're memorialized, and then if there's any damage as part of the hauling, it would be discussed at that time.
We use the same procedure we do in Union Township. So
Right.
we have an escrow account and all that, so that way your expenses are paid for by the applicant.
Right.
So
So
I guess
this
my,
would be an expense that we really don't need at this time because the taxpayers are gonna pay for it now.
well, yeah, and that's sort of my question as well. Like, is that the process that we're looking to follow here? Is that the end game with this also? Or is there something different ahead of time that the township's looking to? So I'm clear on what.
Hey, TJ, how much would this cost the township?
Well, typically it wouldn't cost the township anything because the escrow account for whoever the hauler is.
Right, but we're gonna do it now and there's no escrow. So it's
There's no
gonna cost the township.
We have to wait for the developer to come in to do the hauling.
Yeah.
What, do you have any idea at all what would cost us right now?
Well, that's what we're asking him to give us a cost to do that.
Yeah.
And I think the reason that we want to do this is if there's going to be development out in that area and those roads are going to need updating for them to be used for commercial development, let's get out in front of this. Let's see what we have. Let's let the engineer make recommendations to the township.
I wanna
So
know what
we
it's
can,
gonna cost. though.
Well, that's
Yeah,
what the
well, that-
quotation,
yeah, that-
quotation to study the condition. So we're just getting a quote.
yeah, that's right. We're getting to meet,
This is
yeah.
an estimate. This is a
Okay,
quote.
do we
Yeah.
have a quote?
Yeah, provide a quotation. So rather than be responsive, we're being proactive to see what it's going to cost to get these roads up to usable condition. And so we know, so we can budget it going forward. I mean, this area is going to be developed someday.
We're not gonna make it nice for the next guy. Developers pay his costs. We're always talking about the township paying, developers take advantage of us. I heard that for 10 years I've been here. I like to know some type of cost of these taxpayers, the community know what's going on ahead of time. Do you have any idea?
He's going to give us a written quote, Bob. I mean,
Jeff,
can't you
please.
read?
Jeff, please, I wanna get an answer.
Well, I mean, what I would like to do is look to throw the length of road. That's gonna be the most important piece of it.
In other words, you're gonna estimate a cost before you charge us.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, if I'm understanding the motion correctly, it would be for our office to look at, those 3 roads and try to come up with 4 roads.
Yep.
Sorry, and prepare an estimate for what it would be to study those in terms of their condition.
And you're gonna do that for free?
I mean,
Give us
I'll
a
tell you what,
quote, go out
if
and
I
measure.
can, if I can read it again. Take action to authorize the township engineer to meet with the public works director and provide a quotation to study the condition of the roads, bridges, culverts, and berms in the region of Mitchell, Roop, Rankin, and I added Zedekar Station. To provide a quotation.
I know, but that's gonna take his time. Somebody has.
He's gonna charge us for that.
He's gonna charge us.
It's not free.
Maybe that would be a small
TJ, you
investment.
willing to do this free?
Why
for
don't
us?
you do this? Why don't you give them an estimate without what you're already,
It's not gonna take me very much time to put together a short proposal for this.
how much time? An hour?
1 hour of time. Probably less than $250.
Okay. That's all we were looking for. Thank you.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Well, one second. So basically, when you make that motion, there's the modification that basically not to exceed the sum of $250. That's part of your motion.
Okay, a motion to authorize the township engineer not to exceed $250 to do a quotation of the study of the 4 roads, Mitchell, Roop, Rankin, and Zedekar Station. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carried.
Belt tightening, remember folks, everything's belt tightening.
Before it comes, just so I understand, I will prepare a quote which will be given to the township manager, and I will do nothing additional till there's authorization.
Right.
Thank you.
Motion to authorize the township manager to research and reach out to DCED to look at our public safety department's budgets and make recommendations to the township. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Motion to re-advertise on Municipid Engine 44-3 for public sale with a minimum reserve of $25,000 and in condition. Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to table that until we can get, until we're certain that we don't need that to meet our ISO statements, our ISO standards.
So you're making a motion. Once you make a motion, there has to be a second to the motion.
I'll
Yeah.
second it. So I have this.
All those in favor say aye.
The tabling it.
Motion to table is being made.
We're tabling it?
Right.
That's the
Okay.
motion being made.
Yeah.
So that motion supersedes the other motion. So
Right.
once you have a motion to table, there's a second. There's no question on it. Now you have to ask for a vote. Motion to table. All in favor?
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Motion to approve the sale of the 2016 Ford Explorer for $10,200 after its reserve was met on a municipal public auction. Do I hear a motion?
Make that motion.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Motion to authorize the advertisement of the draft data center ordinance, draft BESS ordinance, and revised draft noise ordinance for public comment.
I suggest we table those because we have to go through, it has to be submitted to the Wash County Planning Commission and also to the local planning commission before we can do anything further. So I suggest you table those at this time.
Motion to table this.
Make that motion.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried to table 5-0. Motion to execute the agreement for the township manager.
Make that motion.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Motion to accept the resignation of Chelsea Gould from the Parks and Rec Commission effective December 9th. Motion,
So moved.
second.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Number 10, public comment time. The Township Board of Supervisors allocates 3 minutes during this item for those individuals who would like the opportunity to address the Board of Supervisors on any matter. Do we have anybody signed up?
There was no additional.
Okay.
I got a question. Sorry. I gotta sign.
Sure.
John Cooney, Root Road. That line item you guys just spoke about where TJ is gonna put together a quote for the roads. I understand, I get it. You wanna try to stay ahead of it. If, whenever he comes back and says it costs X amount of dollars, is that cost gonna get laid off to, say, a developer? If a developer comes in, I know I'm kind of being broad with it here. Developer comes and say, hey, I want to build this, X, Y, Z, whatever. Okay, fine. That's okay. Here's this bill. You have to pay it to get this done to the roads. Or is that going to be laid off to residents?
Well, that's kind of where this was going. So we would have an idea of the condition in the roads and what would need done should somebody want to come in and develop them.
Right.
Now, in the past, the township does nothing. It waits till they're tore up and gets stuck with the bill and
No,
fix
no,
them.
that's not true.
Well,
I was in the back of the truck when we did Munts Ridge and Meadowview when the gas was back in. We took the movies, we charged them and they did all the roads. They did total restoration. So speak the truth.
Okay, well, and
When I
that
in
was an
charge,
exception.
No, we did it on Copper Kettle. We did it on Meadowview. We did it on every road.
Okay, well, there are some roads in this township that have cost the taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars that shouldn't have, huh? You could practice that too. We're gonna go over some information here in a minute, so just thank you for reminding me.
I just want to make sure we're not gonna have to cover the cost of the roads if some developer comes in and tears them up. You can fight about whatever,
Right, yeah,
that's,
no,
If the
that's
developer,
fine.
if,
That's
wait,
fine.
1 second, if the developer comes in, tears up the roads, it's a violation of the agreement or whatever, it's up, the developer will pay for it.
Okay, I just want to make sure it's not getting laid off on us, that's all. Not
Roads
coming
get
at nobody.
bonded, You'll have to put them back the way they were before. the-
We've
If they
institu-
need fixed prior to some sort of project that's gonna come through, whatever his quote is, they're gonna have to cover that cost as well, correct?
Say that again?
I don't know if, so you're saying like what he's gonna go through and say, hey, with this, checking the conditions of the roads. If they need to be built up for a bunch of people to start hauling this and that or third out of here, is that, are we covering that or are they doing it? I don't know, I'm asking.
I'll give you an example.
Condition of them currently.
I'll give you an example. We did at Canton Township. One time we had range. They wanted to use the road. We made them build the road with the stormwater and everything else, widen it before we allow them to use our road. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
That's procedure I've done
And
elsewhere.
that's pretty much what this is about. This isn't after the fact.
Right.
This is to know before we just sign a developer's agreement with somebody, there's what, a couple thousand acres out there that's going to get developed someday.
Mhm.
You know, there's not a road out there that's fit to handle any traffic, especially 136. And somebody said they wanted to put 1,500 acres on your or houses on your property. I'm thinking, well, how's that going to work? You know, it's 136 is a dangerous road now. Now, that doesn't belong to us. That belongs to the state. But a lot of people travel these other roads, and there's other people that came to this township with developments, and Snuffy Development's a perfect example. I said to them, I said, did you ever pull out of your proposed development and take every possible way to get out of there? He said, what do you mean? I said, well, someday I'd like you to do that. I'd like you to come down to the intersection of Floral Hill. I'd like you to come down to the intersection at the foot of the hill going up from in front of Windsor Highlands. You know, I'd like you to take some of the other roads. And I want you to see how much traffic there and how dangerous the intersections are now. And you want to add that much traffic count to that? You know, there's a lot of things that if we're going to have somebody come in and it's going to have a high volume of traffic, somebody's going to have to pay to update those roads. And we'd like to have an idea of what might need done in the future for us to add that into the developer's agreement up front.
Okay.
Not after the fact.
That answers my question. Thanks.
You want to stand up here, sir? You want to stand up here? That way we can put you on whatever video.
It was just a liability standpoint on that. So if you do a study on the roads and you find deficiencies in them and you wait to fix them, does that put the township in a liability standpoint then? Because then you're going to be aware of a deficiency and say something were to happen. And instead of waiting to fix it if a developer comes in, would that not put the township in
If it's
responsibility
that
at
bad,
that
maybe it
point?
should be fixed.
And a liability?
If it's that bad, maybe it should be fixed.
It's definitely something to consider if you want to, if you're worried about cost, because you could find something that could, I know like one of the roads you like, or that we talk about a lot is like the Cameron Road project. Something that was supposed to cost a couple $100,000 to fix turned into what, $1 million to my understanding, or over $1 million. So you could run into that same thing where you could take any bit of pennies you want to pinch on a budget and it goes right out the window because you find a deficiency or unsettled ground on one of those roads that's going to cost you hundreds of $1,000s to fix, because then you're going to know about it. So I was just looking at the
Good
liability
question.
side of
It's a good question.
doing that study and review. So that's my thought.
Thanks. Anybody else? Yeah. Yes, Bob.
My name's Bob Jones. I live in Strabane Manor, unfortunately. My bitch is Fisher Road. Anybody that lives in that area at all, whether you're on the lower end of our plan or the upper end, which I'm about in the middle, the second stop sign. We have nothing. When you make that left off of 19, you go up to Fisher Road. If you don't live where Mr. Weber lives, you're in trouble. There's no, you can't see a damn thing. There's not a light. There's not a stripe going up the middle. There's no reflectors going up the middle. Now, the other side of the road, Davis School Road, has that. Why didn't we get that? I mean, is that part of the planning commission? Did some engineer not do their job when they said, you're going to have 148 homes on one side, you're going to have apartments on the other side? Don't you think we ought to get these people something? I mean, you plow the road. What the hell's the sense of even doing that? You can't see where you're going. I mean, was that not part of the planning job when they put those housing developments in?
That was way before my time.
Well, I can tell you whoever was the engineer prior to whoever this, I guess this guy, maybe even the one before that. When I was sitting in my driveway, the engineer on that job came from here, came up past my house and looked at me. And I said to him, what are you looking at? And he said, oh, well, I said, I know exactly what you're looking at. The house on the corner down there shouldn't be there. Well, yeah, maybe. I said, no, it's definitely, there's no eyesight. When you come off of Moccasin, Fisher Road, make that right on Shawnee, if you go up Moccasin, you've got to go clear around that bend to see anything coming down that hill. Now, is that not part of the planning commission or somebody doing that? I mean, I think it's either terrible engineering in this group or planning commission or something. But hell, I'd take a straight going up the middle of the road. Sad situation.
We're trying to be proactive again.
Anybody else? Even though, Jeff, that's part of being proactive, I think that's part of the job. Part of you people's job, said we're not gonna put that plan up there if we can't get these people being safe after 5 o'clock in the winter.
It's only our first month here, Bob. Give us a.
Well, when that project was put together, there were certain improvements that were to be made to Fisher Road. I don't know if they were all made or not. But when you're putting that kind of traffic on there, you know, not everybody comes down, goes out Route 19. Most people go the other direction and go down to the other dangerous, one of the most dangerous intersections is down on Manifold Road, you know.
Can I piggyback off of his commentary about the safety on Fisher Road? We also have a point on the road where it's
For the
25
record,
miles
just
an hour.
for the public, for Sunshine, what's your name and address, man?
My name's Miranda McCandless and I'm staying on Fisher Road. So when you're coming up Fisher from Manifold, the speed limit is 35 all the way up to the other end of the developments. And we get people who come around that bend and they punch it coming around that bend and it's completely blind. And then you have my driveway, which is right there on the side of the road. And there's multiple cars, but one in particular I can think of. That kid goes 55 miles an hour up that road and punches it around that blind curve and then all the way down to the developments. And at the only point where the speed reduces is down by the developments toward 19. So how would we go about remedying that to be a straight 25-mile-an-hour road all the way up and down?
I got a question, Chief. If that was caught on video, is that something that you'd be able to run with? If somebody, I mean, you can just tell it's excessive speed.
Blanket statement like that, but no, we need to.
You have to be there.
Our speed timing devices and have the off the road. So
Okay.
there would be no way to do that with the video.
You have to do a traffic study to reduce the whole road to 25.
I can do a traffic study for do it when the weather improves. My equipment is rather expensive. You know, it's subjective to these elements. I could do one for free in advance of, you know, if we saw a cause to reduce it, then we would perhaps pay the engineer to do a more proper study.
Yeah,
Where do you live? Like the lower section? Tell me again where you live.
40.
She's my cousin. She lives with me now.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah,
Now I
she's
know.
living
where it
with
is.
me at the farm.
Now I know where it is. Okay. Thanks for telling me.
And I do believe that there have been dangerous accidents in the past on that road because people go over the side. So I feel like that's just cause considering.
If I put on a safety aspect of that road, you have a lined section that's 25 mile an hour, and then you have a narrow non-lined section that's 35 mile an hour.
It doesn't make sense. Anybody else? Supervisors comment time.
Well, lady Ms. Zipko.
Oh,
Don't get excited about the 25 mile an hour. That's what Barry Road is. And you know that that's.
It doesn't matter.
And it's a block.
Right.
Just a slaughter. For sure. So don't get excited about that.
I don't get excited about much.
Right.
That's right, Lenny.
yeah, you're right.
I pay for a traffic study. You're not gonna control the traffic.
Number 11, supervisor comment time. Township supervisors may address any item. Supervisors, do you have anything at this time?
Let's go home and get warm.
Move to adjourn.
Number 12, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Thank you, everybody.